Okay. Today's seminar continues the topic of African systems of belief. I'm going to sum up some of the main points from our text by Evans Pritchard, and then I hope we'll have an interesting question and answer session. As you know, Evans Pritchard went to Central Africa in the late 1920s to study the Azan people, their traditional customs and way of life. Evans Pritchard does not dismiss these beliefs as foolish or irrational, as anthropologists of an earlier generation might have done. According to Azan belief, some people, witches, have special magical power. They are able to use this power at night, to harm others, for example, to strike a nearby rival with anything from minor illness to death. According to Evans Pritchard, the Azan saw witchcraft as an inherited spiritual power, passed from father to son, or from mother to daughter. It could not be taught, and in fact, it might remain unused throughout the witch's whole life. It could also operate without the witch's knowledge or consent. Now, how do you know when witchcraft is being used? If someone is using witchcraft against you, how do you discover who it is? For this purpose, the Azan used a kind of test which Evans Pritchard called an oracle. The most reliable kind of oracle was the chicken oracle, and indeed, chickens were kept mostly for this purpose. Suppose your wife is ill, and you suspect that a neighbor, jealous of her good looks, is using magic to make her unwell. You give a special substance, a kind of poison, to a chicken, saying, "If my neighbor is responsible for my wife's illness, let this chicken die." If the chicken dies, your suspicions are confirmed. You might think that this would create anger and resentment between members of Azan society. However, full confirmation of the oracle's message was expensive and depended on using only the very best chickens, which belonged to the prince. Also, people believed that an oracle might give the wrong result because someone was using magic to influence it. So even in Evans Pritchard's time, it was rare for people who were thought to be witches, to be punished in any serious way. Instead, people politely asked the witch, who after all might not be aware of the problem, to control his or her magic. In this way, the Azan beliefs in magic did not, in practice, seriously damage relations between neighbors. Evans Pritchard had the insight to realize that these beliefs about magic helped Azan society.